What are teens today not ready to hear? Treating your teachers like trash isn't cool, most of the time they really want to help you. Your parents were hip and cool before they had to pay your bills and feed you and buy you the cool clothes so you can impress the friends you'll forget about in 10 years. In 15 years you're going to think the kids have gone too far and they're going to think you're old-fashioned. You won't feel different when you're older, or have kids. You'll just be you. It's weird. Life as a continued experience is weird. When I was much younger I would always think about all the ways I'd be different when I was older, but I'm still just me. Somewhat wiser and taller, but still the same me I've always been. It's strange, but I think I've enjoyed getting older and growing to know myself better. I might as well be teenage me in a grown-up suit pretending I'm an adult, that's what it feels like sometimes. Ha ha ha, totally what it feels like. I'm nearing 30 and I still look for adults when something goes wrong lol. I am 55 and I still look for adults when something goes wrong. I'm 40 and you're the adult to me. Now what? Supply chain issues. That dick pic you sent, got screenshotted and sent to 5 other people. And they're still saving your nudes, even if you sent them on Snapchat and think they can't screenshot without your knowledge. They can. Take it from a zillennial who knows from experience. Screen recorder has entered chat. Everything you do as a teenager will be cringe to your children. Everything I did as a teenager is cringe to me tbh. I, teenager, cringe at myself as I do things. To the ones who ride the public bus in my city, specifically, nobody else wants to hear whatever TikTok you're watching. Buy some headphones. My dad's a teenager? Anything less than 80% is not worth listening to. School has a system in place to keep you from falling behind, life doesn't. Yup. Life will run you over if you fuck around. And even if you have your shit together, you could be one financial crisis away from losing it all. For fucking sure. Been run over so many times at this point I've proposed to the asphalt but still no response. Edit, it's beyond depressing, this is my most upvoted comment ever, but hey, que sera lol. Asphalt 2 has commitment issues. Even if it doesn't feel like it, your school wants you to succeed. Real life does not. Being controversial isn't the same as being interesting. Oh, and you're gonna wish you learned not to be a dick. Turns out social skills are useful post-college. Contrarianism isn't wisdom. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Cut back on the sugary shit now. Take care of your teeth now. Start working out now. You don't have to be a bodybuilder and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, just be active. Not exercising or eating right? Have fun with that quadruple bypass that my father just had. My girlfriend's parents are older than my parents, but because they do those things they haven't had nearly as much hospital visits as my parents have. By comparison, my parents are falling apart and they're only in the 50s. My girlfriend's parents are in their 70s and objectively are healthier. The big difference? Early in the morning, every morning those two are downstairs working out, hitting the weights and machines for a solid hour or two. Do you want to speed and act a damn fool on the road? Have fun when you have to pay for your own insurance and nobody wants to insure you to drive a fucking Honda Civic for no less than $350, like me. Even my fucking car, it was my dream car and it still is the car I would be driving today, had just taken care of the goddamn thing. But no, it started leaking oil and I didn't keep up with it or take it in, and now I have to drive a goddamn Civic when I used to drive a Lexus. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And wear sunscreen. Just because you fucked up does not mean you're a fuck up. Building on this. Everybody fucks up royally at some point. A sign that you're in the right environment, whether that's personally or professionally, will be people forgiving and working with you to get better. Drugs ain't a game. This. I work with teens and none of them take me seriously when I tell them to never, ever mess with pills, even when I list all the people I knew at their age who are now dead from opiate abuse and odds. I was a $100 a day crack whore. 12 years sober. I want to scream at all kids, don't do drugs. Being dope sick sucks. Being friends with total losers just because they have crack will bring you down so fast. Sitting in the bathtub crying because you blew away 10 years of your life sucks. It's great you decided to get clean. I'm working on that myself. It's a hell of a struggle, but there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel always. They're right that the payoff is worth it. I'm 7 years here and I don't even recognize myself anymore. In a good way. I feel like I'm living in an alternate reality where I'm the best possible version of myself. Took a lot of time and a lot of missteps to get here though. Keep trying, never give up, even if you fuck up just bite your tongue, get your shit together, and get back in the game. Oh, and stop counting. The second you lose track of your days is the second things start getting easier. Please shower. Back in my day you got roasted for being the stinky one. Not everybody can be an internet sensation, somebody has to drive the dump truck. And sanitation is a pretty solid business, too. Yeah, don't believe the guidance counselor saying you have to go to college and then saying something like you don't want to be a garbage man/plumber, do you? The garbage man and the plumber make bank with no student loan debt. Garbage man is a city job here that pays to start $25 per hour and you get benefits and union membership. I'll gladly be a fucking garbage man lol. Also, plumbers make more money than school counselors. Like a lot more lamau. Condoms are for STDs too, even though there are other ways to avoid pregnancy. STDs are the main reason I use them. I'll add that girls can feel just as awkward about using them as boys. Don't be shy and use one. One day you too will be old and uncool. And it'll happen faster than you think. When I was like 25 and stepbrother chuckled at me and said nobody says stoked anymore, I had that moment for the first time. The moments have only increased since. I refuse to give up on stoked. I still say rad. I used to be with it, then they changed what it was and what is now it is weird and scary. It will happen to you. Abe Simpson, more or less. So, I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time. Now, to take the ferry cost a nickel. And in those days, nickels had pictures of bumblebees on them. Give me 5 bees for a quarter, you'd say. Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. The important thing was that I had an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time. They didn't have white onions because of the war. The only thing you could get was those big yellow ones. We had to say dickety because the Kaiser had taken our word for 20. I chased that rascal to get it back but gave up after dickety 6 mile. Just because it's new to you doesn't mean it's new. I majored in literature in college, I teach now, and I remember 18 to 20-year-old me being fascinated by how human nature stayed the same from hundreds of years ago. At that age, I couldn't fathom that those old people actually made sex jokes or had certain technologies. Reading across the ages really made me wiser and hip to the fact that humans are basically all the same, we just have different settings we grow up in. Same thing across country/cultural lines. I remember when I traveled to India and the culture shock was super jarring, felt like I had teleported to a different universe. Then when we were driving around Agra I saw a group of teenage boys cracking up and pointing. Those fuckers had drawn the most glorious, veiniest dick that I had ever seen on the wall in chalk. Doesn't matter if you live in India, Germany, Egypt or the USA, everyone draws and laughs at Dick's Lamau. The great unifier. One of the oldest debated works of art in the world is a rock that may have been carved to look like a penis. I say debated because while it does look a lot like a dick, it might just have formed that way totally coincidentally. But it was found deep in a cave known to have been used by ancient humans and it's very much the wrong kind of rock to belong there, so if it wasn't carved, at the very least some ancient dude just thought haha this rock looks like a dick. And carried it into the cave. Shit, Pompeii, which was encased in volcanic ash for thousands of years, was covered in dick graffiti. Plus shit like this, SFW. https://imgur.com/gallery/his dicks always have been, and always will be funny. 2 facts that I've learned that are interesting. 1. Humans are the only species of ape, and one of the only species of mammal that has breasts all the time. Most species grow them during pregnancy and lose them when they're not needed. 2. Humans have one of the largest penis size to body mass rations of all mammals, excluding rodents I think? Freakishly so compared to other apes. In conclusion, the love of dicks and boobs, and sex in general, is so great, and so universal, that we have spent tens or hundreds of thousands of years selectively breeding ourselves to make them bigger. I took Latin in high school and the teacher made it a point to show all the crude jokes they found in Pompeii. He basically said all the crude sex and fart jokes we make today have already been done 2,000 years ago, also see, us old people used to be just like you. I read something before how the Romans went to the pyramids in Egypt and would write something like Caesar was here on the walls. In the Hagia Sophia a Viking carved Halfdan carved these runes from like 1,200 years ago. As you get older you also realize that the mentality behind genocide, witch burning and the Dark Ages is also very much still in people's brains and that humans' physical brains haven't really evolved since then, same brains, only the setting is different. Why does no one ever talk about? We did when it happened. Real talk, my high school students didn't know about the AIDS crisis until I showed them a documentary about it. I was mortified that one slipped my mind. A good recent example is people asking why no one talked about Syria or Iraq after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. People did talk about Syria and Iraq, but now it's almost a decade since the Syrian civil war started and 2 decades since the Iraq invasion. Even now you can see interest in Ukraine is already waning in popular media and the news. The idea that nobody ever talked about Iraq is the most laughably preposterous thing I have heard in a very long time. Seriously? People actually say that? Nobody ever talked about Iraq? Iraq? More like that is literally all anyone talked about around the whole damn world for like half a decade. This is one of the most ridiculous things I hear lately. I was at a barbecue with my parents and family, and said something about the invasion of Ukraine. A younger, 18-ish, relative demanded to know why I didn't say anything about the invasion of Iraq and that people don't care because they weren't white and European. I told him I was arrested, twice, during anti-Iraq war protests in 2003. Which was news to my parents lol. Lamau Whitey Deent Y Uta LK about TST. Hi, Ing? I did, you didn't exist yet. That's funny that they just assumed you didn't care. One of the more embarrassing things you realize as your perspective widens in college is how often adults were just humoring you as you explained things about the world as though they hadn't been common knowledge for half a century. Adding to this, there's nothing original under the sun. You might think you have a great idea for a song and then boom. You find out The Simpsons had that same beat in '98. 10 years from now, no one will care about how many viewers you had on TikTok. Also, those 10 years are not a long time. It's tomorrow. Seriously though. It may be the millennial in me, but 2012 feels like last week despite having gone through college, 2 jobs, getting married, and having a child in that time span. Social media is not reality and your entire life should not revolve around it. I know some adults that need to hear this too. Also, mistakes or anything put on social media can certainly follow you along for the rest of your life. As you get older you just keep realizing how dumb you were last year. Every day I realize how stupid I was the day before. I actually like this because it means I'm always improving. There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self. Ernest Hemingway. You're closer to being the older person in any given setting than you think. And by old I mean like 30. Got nieces and nephews just starting kindergarten? Ha ha. Blink and they're starting college. I'm old aka 30s. Some college punk called me sir the other day. Agreed. We're having my mother's memorial this coming weekend and it keeps striking me as bizarre that we are now the adults. We went from 15 to 45 in the blink of an eye it seems. Same. My dad passed a few weeks ago and we just had his memorial. Seeing his friends and people he worked with that I haven't seen in 30 years just hit me in the face how old I am now. I'm 31 and realizing I am at the point now where I'm really losing people. My 29-year-old sister died 2 weeks ago, and both my parents are in not great health, and that sure didn't help it. As older relatives pass away, the extended family becomes segmented and caught up in their own more immediate families. Things are becoming lonelier. Edit, thanks everyone for the kind words. I start to understand better the drive to have awkward-ass family reunions. I'm convinced my cousin is still 8 years old. Admittedly, that's unlikely as she's recently got a degree in astrophysics. But I don't live with admittedly that's unlikely as she's recently got a degree in astrophysics. But I don't live with her or anything. Maybe she's just a really smart kid? Today's eyebrows are yesterday's clown makeup and tomorrow's regret fodder. Today's eyebrows are laminated. When I was a young whippersnapper, we did not consider Elmer's glue sticks to be a cosmetic product. Silly us. Have those thin, non-existent eyebrows come back yet? Asking for a friend who has plucked hers to death in the early 2000s and couldn't undo it. Edit. Spelling. I love how this is accurate for basically all eyebrow looks ever. This is why I just get my eyebrows cleaned up and shaped. They're still just as bushy as they were before I had them waxed, but they look cleaner. I'd rather have not trendy eyebrows than pluck them to death and ruin them forever lol. It is perfectly fine to not know something. It's okay to not know. Stop shaming and bullying people because you learned about something before they did. Social media is not the real world and acting like it is will only make people not want to be around you. Edit. I am not talking about ignorance. I'm talking about laughing when people ask a question in class, the how do you not know that? Crowd, the mocking of people into never asking another question out of fear of ridicule and humiliation. Tell that to the adults too. You need to learn the difference between normal teenage neuroses and mental illness. Putting every aspect of yourself online is unsafe. Nobody needs to know your list of triggers or your address or your blood type. Some Twitter bios are long enough to be in a Star Wars intro. That's how I'm reading them from now on. With John Williams' score in the background lol, maybe I could find one of those sites that generate the title crawl for you with your input. So many teens have their location data available on Snapchat for all their Snapchat friends to see just cause. I would never show my real-time location data to all my Facebook friends, so why so many people do it with Snapchat eludes me. So many people on those contact lists you just casually know and they're not actually friends, so they don't need to know my location. It's creepy AF emo. In the adult world, getting into fights doesn't make you look cool, it just makes you look stupid. And one wrong fight can leave you brain damaged or on trial for manslaughter. When our /watch peopledy was around, it was filled with fights where someone got punched, fell over and hit their head on the ground and then died. So many young people dying over stupid things. I know someone who was drunk and another much drunker guy came up to them looking for a fight. Long story short, the guy defended himself. The aggressive man had an undiagnosed tumor in his brain which ruptured and he died. Now this guy has to live with this for the rest of his life due to someone being idiotic. Luckily they got off with no jail time as it was self-defense and they were both drunk and obviously undiagnosed. But I think the mental damage of having killed someone accidentally is punishment enough. I wonder if the brain tumor could have been part of the reason he was being so weirdly aggressive. Could have been totally unrelated, but those things can totally mess with your personality. Very sad story. Poor guy defending himself didn't ask for that. It 100% changes you. Living in constant pain, whether or not you recognize it's there, will make you a very angry/sad/bitter person. I was in chronic body pain for a long time from many injuries. Constant scrutinizing pain. Went on an acid trip and I felt my body without pain for the first time in a long time. I've been chasing that ever since through yoga/mobility/meditation/dissociation techniques. I feel more aggressive and hostile when the pain level goes up. I get very easily irritated. This all is a major contributor, but completely skips the damage a tumor in the brain does to proper functionality. So it could very well have been the tumor itself causing him to act aggressively. Someone bumped into me. Someone said something I don't like. Nothing makes me cringe harder than someone using the excuse he disrespected me. Better flex and posture and duke it out because this will definitely matter when I step outside the club and go home. An acquaintance went downtown around when he turned 19, he got into a fight and he was dumbstruck when he got charged and was put on probation. Plus there can be expensive legal consequences. This needs to be expressed more in media. Movies/shows make it look like when you get arrested, someone just has to come pick you up and there's no consequences after that. In real life, you have to pay thousands in court fees and will likely get some kind of probation and community service. Also losing your job if you had one. Getting arrested for assault will get you fired from a lot of places that have a public-facing reputation. Social media will give you too much of a superiority complex, and hanging around people who enable you will fuck you up later in life. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button for more content. I post every day, and I'll see you next time with more stories.